Dyslexic Genius here. What I'm going to talk about are governors and governor springs and why we look at these closely when you rebuild your governor. And I've done videos on it, but I want to talk about it. And the best thing you need is a veneer caliper. You can buy a cheap one from Harbor Freight. Yeah, this is a Fowler because I like Fowler. I pulled this Victor Governor. This is all the governor parts and the screws, not that governor. And when you look at these, you're going, okay, I have to replace that bent one. But we have a 1/4 inch one that was in the governor, a 5/32 one, which is bent because it was too weak, and the original 3/16. And on this one, they didn't have that little washer under the screw, so we just cut off a piece of a governor spring to use that as a washer.
Not we, the previous owner did.
The previous owner. So we know Uncle Bubba's been working on this. And what this causes is when the governor engages, the weights come up like this. So we'll take this 4-spring Edison A1 governor and I'll show you. When you look straight down at it, and we have the balls, don't worry about the force balls. When you spin it, you look at the outside. The outside, you see how all the weights are running the same. So if you have a bad one, it's going to be popping out like this. And that's what that weak spring causes. You can't put a little spring with a big weight. Little springs have little weights. And this happens a lot.
So what difference does it make if you have different size springs?
So what happens is the motor is going to pulsate. The governor is the hard drive of the motor. And that thing's spinning around doing its job, but we have a loose weight. So if we have a loose weight and it starts going like this, it's going to pull the rest of them out. So it's literally going to start bending them down, and you'll see that little bump in the governor, right? And now your motor going, oh man, I'm having a hard time adjusting the speed. This adjusts the speed, the plane of the record, and then you got it cranked up to run a record of 78, and it's hitting the motor because that weak spring is coming around. The other problem is with Victors is after you rebuild and clean them, you should take this screw out, which is the same screw that attaches to both ends of the governor, like this, the flywheel. And these are notorious for not being tight enough from the factory. So you'll get a motor and you'll go, my phonograph doesn't run. Does it vibrate? You're missing the ball because this screw will literally unwind itself in the machine over a year. We're talking 100 years. And then I go, oh, do you see a little half basketball silver looking thing in the bottom of your phonograph? They'll usually go, yeah. I go, there's your other governor weight. So when you rebuild these, and I don't talk about cranking on things hard, but when you lock this thing down, you want to make sure this is tight, real tight, because they do come loose. And this is why phonographs don't run well. This is why when you see me fire up a motor, it comes right up. Well, the governor and the governor springs are all kind of matched. And if you have to buy new springs, you can get them in different parts. You know, you can go to thePhonographShop.com, or eBay sells them too. I don't mind where you go. I like Brian at the Phonograph Shop. He's a good guy. I get no money from him, but I wanted to show you. You take something apart, you go, I don't think that looks right. And I looked at the governor before I took it apart, and I told my angel, hey, we have to put 3 governor springs in. And she said, why? And I go, well, let me take this apart. I'll show you. And that's the culprit right here. This thing right here, that's probably a Columbia spring. And sometimes they'll shorten them down too, and then try to drill another hole. But that's another day and another story. I hope you enjoyed that, and that's my tip for the day.